For the past 7 years, there has been consistent disappointment Star Wars related content. We got one good comic every once in a while, and Rogue One's ending scene was pretty good. But you know it's bad when I think Rogue One was the best I've seen out of live action movies. While Star Wars for the past 20 years content wise hadn't been 100% good, the games for me were mainly what kept me going. Mind you, I'm saying this without reading into the EU or the novels. Should I have? Maybe. Now with how many good and bad Star Wars games there's been, I could go on for hours. But that's not the point of this video. Just know that for the past couple of years, we've lacked any real good Star Wars games. I don't think the EA Battlefronts were good. So when EA announced the new Star Wars game, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, developed by Respawn, who's the same team that made Apex Legends game I've played for a total of 5 minutes, I thought that all hope was lost. My expectations weren't high. But then the trailer came, and it did look interesting. But the idea of having another Star Wars game take place between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope gave me Force Unleashed flashbacks. But I'm here to say that I was a fool, cause Jedi Fallen Order is one of my favorite Star Wars stories in a long while. Now, I need to warn for spoilers because I'm going to be spoiling this game right. Jedi Fallen Order starts off on Bracca, a place where Cal Kestis, a Jedi Padawan, works as a scrapper salvaging ships from the Clone Wars era. He tries to hide the fact that he's a Jedi, but after his friend Prof is in a life or death situation, he uses his force powers to save Prof. An Imperial probe records him saving Prof and sends it to the Empire, which resulted in them sending 2 Inquisitors by the name of the Second Sister and the Ninth Sister. Prof tries to start this speech basically knowing he's going to get killed, gets killed, and Cal tries to avenge his dead friend, with the Second Sister outclassing him. Before she can kill Cal though, a chick by the name of Sierra and a pilot of the ship by the name of Grease save Cal. Sierra explains that she was once a Jedi and that she wants to find a certain thing from her former master Cordova to rebuild the Jedi Order. It is found on Bogana, where Cal goes to explore this planet. While exploring this planet, he finds a droid by the name of BD-1, who is revealed to be the key he was looking for that has the clues to Master Cordova, who hid a Jedi holocron which has a list of many Force-sensitive users, and children at that. So now his goal is set. He and Sierra must find this Jedi holocron, find the Force-sensitive users, and rebuild the Jedi Council. Hence, Jedi Fallen Order. They travel across planets, have run-ins with the Second Sister and the Ninth Sister, but the Second Sister is revealed to be Sierra's apprentice, Trilla Suduri, in which she reveals some not-so-fun facts about Sierra, and Cal and Sierra get into a small argument, with both of them understanding that they'll need to continue this later, as what's important right now is getting the Jedi holocron. They end up helping some Wookiees along with rebels, end up on the planet Dathomir, where Cal has a mind battle and accidentally breaks his kyber crystal, and Cal now has gone completely lost, confused, and is losing hope. Sierra gives him her backstory in the situation about how she was tortured and tried her best to keep the whereabouts of her apprentice a secret, but ultimately couldn't, and when she saw what her apprentice became, aka an Inquisitor, she gave into the dark side of the Force, and due to this, she cut her connection to the Force. She then tells Cal that they're going to go to Ilum so he can make his own lightsaber and not rely on his masters anymore. Cal gets a kyber crystal, it breaks, he slowly loses hope, then BD-1 pulls him out of it by showing him that he and Cal are really good friends, and that BD-1 only was supposed to get his memories back to someone he truly trusts, aka Cal. Oh yeah, back on Dathomir, we're introduced to his Night Sister by the name of Marin, who's the last of her kind and wants to kill Cal because she's been lied by the Wanderer, aka Talon Malicos, an old Jedi Knight that has turned to the dark side, that the Jedis are the one that killed her sister. Cal basically calls a truce after returning to the planet a second time, and he, along with Marin, fights and defeats Malicos, and he finally gets the final key to get the holocron. Upon getting the key, Marin tags along with them on the ship, and Cal goes back to Bogano to get the holocron, in which he fights his second sister a third time, this time being capable of beating her, but upon touching her lightsaber, he sees all the pain she went through, and she escapes with the holocron while he's in this tortured vision. Sierra and Cal head over to Nur, where Inquisitors are made and Jedis are tortured, and the place where the Second Sister, aka Trilla, has ran to get the holocron back. In there, Cal and the Second Sister get into a final fight, with Cal emerging victorious. Sierra tries to return her Padawan to the light, but then the most fangasm thing happens as Darth Vader appears, kills Trilla, Force throws Sierra into magma, then almost kills Cal. Cal needs to run away during this segment, and Sierra revealing herself to be alive and helping him hold off Darth Vader, with him being too much for the two of them. Cal then floods the place and tries to escape, almost drowning before being rescued by Marin. after they realize how much danger they're putting the Force-sensitive children in by holding the holocron, Cal destroys it and asks what now, ending the game. Holy shit! This was great. This is a Star Wars story. A space adventure with plenty of high-stakes action, huge spectacle, and a villain that takes a lot more than just brute force to beat, along with conquering one's inner demons. So for the most part, Star Wars stories set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope always almost try for a darker, more depressing story. And in some aspects, it does make sense. The entire Jedi purge just happened. This is the early years of the Empire taking over, spreading their fear across the galaxy. But hear me out on this. What if instead of having to focus on the darker aspects, we just have a lighthearted Star Wars journey just like the original 3 trilogy? Even Empire Strikes Back, which how dark that was at some point. And it was a fun space adventure. Why don't we just have that instead of this dark stuff? Because, you know, one of the major themes of Star Wars is that no matter how little hope there is, you can always use that little hope to keep fighting, as hope will always prevail. Now, these are incorporated into the dark stories, but because of how hard they try to make the characters depressing and non-lighthearted, we can never really connect with them. Rogue One is a great example of this. It's one of the main reasons I didn't feel anything at the ending, which, oh, spoiler for a now 3 to 4 year old movie, everyone fucking dies. You know it's bad when I cared more about droids' death than the actual people. So if Jedi Fallen Order, I was expecting a similar tone like that, and that Cal was going to end up dead at the end, or that he was going to start a Jedi Order and get immediately countered by the Empire, but one of the people on his team happened to be someone from the original trilogy, so they were able to carry out his hope like Rogue One. Then the game starts and shows me a funny alien. I'm instantly on board. Yeah, he dies, but surprisingly, he's one of the 2 major character deaths in this game. Yeah, there's very little deaths in this game, which is another good thing. It reminds me of New Hope too, where only really 2 important characters die. Even then, after his death, the tone isn't suddenly darker. It's actually pretty Star Wars-esque. It reminds me of the original trilogy, which is what made me love this even more. Cal is a fun main character. He's what Jyn Erso should have been. If you don't remember who Jyn Erso is, that's the main character of Rogue One. You're probably kind of confused now because you forgot that was even her name. He has a similar scenario to Jyn in that he lost the close ones to him when he was young, aka his master, and pretty much was stuck in a hopeless dead-end area until an event happens, kicking them off to the plot. Difference is that Cal is an actual character. Cal blames himself for his master's death, but he still decides to go along with Sierra's plan to find Holocron to make a new Jedi Order, as he views it's better than just hiding, and that he listens to the hope inside of him. But even with this, Cal isn't a completely dark character. He's a cinnamon bun. Cal still tries to practice his Jedi teachings with those around him. No matter the world he goes to, you always listen to Jedi teach. Try to be a peace negotiator rather than a straight up attacker. But yeah, he's trying to be a peace negotiator because that's what he's learned. That was his teaching, and it shows. And even when he's pissed at Sierra, he keeps his emotions calm and collected and knows what his goal is. It's not fully calm and collected, but it's calm and collected to the point that, you know, it works. Also, Cal and BD1 are just great together. You don't understand BD1, but you don't need to. Just like you don't understand Chewbacca, but you don't need to. Because Cal understands him, and you can understand or put in the dots for what BD1 is saying. And they're just a great friend trio together. I just really love the scene where they beat the Ninth Sister and say this. Stop you.
Just took down an Inquisitor.
He has his inner demons of failing his master and being responsible for his death that he needs to overcome. But in the end, it's not something he can do alone, but something he can do with the friends he's made. That is how he conquers his inner demons. He also isn't overpowered or anything, and that's a huge plus, because after seeing his time slow powers, I was legit expecting a Starkiller 2.0, and thank God that's not what we got. Listen, for those people that love Starkiller, I'm sorry, but the video game version of him, I have yet to read any of the Force Unleashed novels or comics because I really don't care to, is a goddamn self-insert Mary Sue. I'm sorry. Cal has his clear limits. He's most certainly not one of the most powerful Jedis, but he's still a powerful one in his own right. But when you see Darth Vader come up and how effortlessly he handles Cal, it just shows the difference in power and skill between them. This makes him relatable. He's not a robot like other Jedi counselors from the prequels either, so that's also nice. He cracks jokes every once in a while, and it's just a nice kid. He reminds me of Luke in some aspects. Also, his jokes aren't complete Disney level cringe, so that's a plus. Another great thing is how they were able to write this story even with the huge limitations they had due to this being the prequels, so they have to work under events that already exist. One of the main things they've done that is genius to me is that they only use famous Star Wars characters as a quick name drop or show up in the absolute end of the game. And it makes sense even in the context of the overall Star Wars timeline. You see, the main problem with a lot of these Star Wars prequels, like Rebels, was how little conflict there was in the show because they were part of the rebellion, so they were part of something big. What events they're going to win. You know what events they're going to lose. You know for sure that the Empire isn't going to fall for good in this episode, even if they say that, because you know what happened. So there's little tension. You know that no one's going to die unless it's Kanan because of the character. You know because you've seen people like Hera in fucking Rogue One. You know all these things, so it removes so much tension and makes no point. It's kind of the same problem I have with the Clone Wars. I saw everyone excited for season 7, but honestly, what's there to be excited for? Rebels kind of pretty much shown that any character after Rebels, what happened to them. So I don't get the point of this. I guess just to clear things up, I guess people didn't really like how season 6 ended. They want a sense of closure. I also love the characters' interactions because it's been so long since I've seen characters in Star Wars act like real people to each other. Sierra and Grease often trade blows at each other, but it's not an over-the-top comedy. You can hear the genuine friendship between them. You can see just how the characters act when they're talking to each other on ship. Cal gets plants for Grease to help him make his indoor plant thing. A Boggling can be befriended, having him join your crew with some dialogue alluding to him. And finally, Maris is just great. Someone who just has little to none social interaction, trying to be social with these guys, is a cool addition and makes for funny dialogue. Overall, this feels like a legitimate Star Wars story. And with this and the stuff I've been hearing about The Mandalorian, I'm wondering why these writers aren't at the helm for the live action movies instead of J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson. Oh well. It's nice to see something consistently good not only come out of Disney Star Wars, but out of EA itself. It says a lot about how this game is likely going to contend for the Game of the Year. I should just go playing it too for the gameplay. It's nice and simple, and the level of mastery over pairing need to get order to fight the latter enemies makes it more challenging. So I give this game 5 dats out of 5 attacks. Great game. So if you like this video, watch some of my other videos, attack that subscribe button, attack that like button, support me on Patreon, follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. I am Dat, and I give you my attack. See ya.